a cartoon of a man sitting at a computer typing on a keyboard. The view zooms out and we see dozens of other identical men working in office cubicles. The screen goes black. The words "working blind" appear in green, typed out as if on an older style computer.
Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Welcome back to the channel. We've got another episode in our Working Blind series. The Working Blind series is a chance for you guys to learn about what types of jobs people in the community are doing, and hopefully will inspire you as to what's available. So, with that being said, let's jump into it. I am currently down in Chicago, well, just outside of Chicago, Schaumburg, Illinois, at the American Council of the Blind's National Convention, and met this fine gentleman, thought he would be a good candidate for the Working Blind series. Mystery guest, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi Sam, good to meet you.
Thank you. So, why don't you introduce yourself, and first let's talk about your vision impairment.
Yeah, so I have RP from birth, and I have some vision, but it's been deteriorating over the years, but yeah.
What's your name?
My name is Audible, I'm from London, and I work as a barrister, an attorney as you would say here.
Yeah, is that different than attorneys here, or is it just a different name for
It's
the same thing?
a different name, so a barrister is effectively what you would call a courtroom attorney. I go to court every day.
Okay. And what types of cases are you primarily working?
So primarily I work in family cases. I deal with children, divorces, money, abductions, all of that kind of work. I do some criminal defense work and some commercial work. But I do the remit of work, the whole remit of family and children and civil work. So everything basically.
Okay. Well, it's unfortunate that there's a need for that, but thank you for doing that. So RP, when did it first manifest? How old were you?
So I don't remember when it first manifested. It was first noticed when I was about 2. So I don't remember. For me, it's kind of always been there.
Yeah.
And I went to a specialist school way back when for visually impaired kids, and then went on to college and university, and eventually ended up in law.
Now, is your RP the kind of the traditional peripheral vision loss tunnel?
Yep. Yeah. So central vision, peripheral kind of disappearing as time goes by.
Okay. Do you know what your field of view is?
Less than 10.
Okay.
So a very narrow field of view.
Gotcha. I like to ask about education. Like, what kind of education, specific education, did you need in order to do this job?
So I went to school as everyone else. I then went on to college here, which is effectively an extension of school. You don't have college in the same sense. And then I needed a degree, and then effectively a higher level specific qualification for law. So the bar course, similar to what you have here, you do the bar course to practice law at university or an educational institution, and then some on-site professional training, which is called pupillage, or like an apprenticeship, what you would say here, before being fully accredited as a barrister.
And then I'm curious about what kind of accommodations did you get while you were in school? I talk a lot about what's available here in the U.S., but in the UK, what types of do the universities have like an office of accessibility kind of things?
They do. So at school, I went to a special school for visually impaired, so they had lots of accommodations. There I read most of my material was in Braille, and that was kind of pre-modern high-tech, as it were. Going on to university, they have what's called a disabled students allowance. So students will be assessed and given allowance to cover costs of equipment and other resources, maybe a support worker, whatever you happen to need. Universities also have a requirement under UK law to make reasonable adjustments to accommodate students. That works to varying degrees of success. But most of my university studies, I had all my material digital in electronic format, and I used to use a screen reader and screen magnifier to deal with the day-to-day educational classes and assignments that went with that.
Right. Okay. So now, getting back to your current job, how long did you say you've been doing that?
So I've been doing this for 5 years and change, I think.
Okay.
I started off in a different career completely. I worked in financial services, then I came to law later in life. But yeah, I mean, my day-to-day is usually running from one court to the other. I'm in court on a daily basis, seeing clients, speaking to clients, running cases, doing paperwork, So law is a very paper-heavy field, so you end up with lots and lots of paperwork, and I scan all of mine. So where other lawyers may turn up with a briefcase of papers or a whole trolley or suitcase of papers, I turn up with a laptop.
Okay, so everything is scanned digitally, and
Yes.
that's how you manage it.
Yes.
Do you talked about going to court? Do you get transportation, like public transportation?
Transportation is different because I travel around the country. I'm not just in one port. I might be in one part of the country one day and be in a completely different part of the country the other day. So my Uber bill racks up.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, there is public transportation and there is public transportation assistance available to varying degrees of quality in the UK. But it is certainly available. It is an option, but often courts are not in places which are going to be easily accessible through public transport. So even if you get close by public transport, you may still need to take an Uber or a local taxi to get there.
I know here in the U.S. they're really pushing for these ride-sharing companies to offer discounts for communities that need the rides, like us. Anything like that in the UK yet?
No, there's nothing like that in the UK. I have seen here that there are some companies in Dallas and whatnot that you pay or you register with them, and then they have agreements with Uber and whatnot, and they will give you a discount. That I haven't seen that in the UK at all, so it's not really available. Hopefully, it's something to consider in the future. And I think with many other persons with visual impairments, the biggest problem is often the getting to work, getting, particularly if I'm going to different ports with which I'm unfamiliar. It's the travelling and the accessing before you actually do the work. The work part is relatively relaxing compared to the exercise of getting there.
Right. So with that being said, let's talk about accommodations. You mentioned scanning in all your paper documents and other means.
Yeah.
You're a screen reader user? Do you use magnification?
Yeah, I use Fusion and JAWS and ZoomText. With the improvement in Narrator over recent years, I've started to use that as well, which is very helpful from Microsoft. And yeah, I think those are the Windows magnifier, of course, that goes with that.
Yeah.
Those are very helpful to me. I think Microsoft has done a great job compared to what it was a few years back.
Yeah, they really have. I agree with you. So are you independent or do you work for a firm?
No, I'm independent, so I'm freelance. I get instructed for cases on an individual basis. People just call me up and say, can you represent me for this or that or the other? And I will represent whoever calls me and I can.
So all of these accommodations, you're responsible for those.
Yes.
Does the UK have something similar here in the US? Forgive my ignorance about all this, but where like if you need a reasonable accommodation for your self-employed business, you can, get taken off on the taxes, or you can get a discount, that kind of stuff.
You have what's called access to work. So it's similar to what I mentioned in terms of the disabled students allowance. So access to work is government-funded assistance that you can apply for. So you can say that I need, for my work purposes, I need ZoomText, or I need a screen reader, or I need some bit of equipment, and they will fund that to a degree. And to some extent, they can fund travel for something, or support work, and they may fund that. So they have limited budgets that they can allocate on an annual basis to fund certain things. So that's very useful. It's prohibitive in the sense that it takes, last I saw, it was a 14-week application before they even consider it. So it's a very lengthy process.
It sounds like the American government.
Yeah. Like all government bureaucracies, it takes a very long time.
Yeah.
But it is available, and it's definitely something that helps a lot of people who have not just visual disabilities, but other disabilities in getting access for work purposes and helping them into employment where they otherwise wouldn't be able to be employed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, okay, so when you're in court, and you walk in somewhere brand new, nobody knows you. You're a cane user. I saw you had a cane. Have you experienced any kind of pushback or negative reactions or anything like that?
Occasionally. Often when you go into court, the first thing you do is you're looking for which courtroom you're in. And that's normally a label in tiny, tiny print stuck on a wall somewhere. And you'll walk in and security will say, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. Where? And then you go through the exercise, and then they can potentially read it for you. And then often what will happen is they'll look at it and think, actually, it's too small, even I can't read this. So you'll go in and have to go through reception. But in court itself, people are very accommodating more often than not. clients are often equally accommodating. Normally, clients are more accommodating than the officials in the buildings, I find. But often there are issues with accessibility in certain courts where lighting is not good, signage is poor, and they're simply getting around the court process. As I say, I think it's similar for a lot of visually impaired people. The getting to and from places and the exercise of getting to work is more difficult than the work itself. You train to do the work, but you don't train as much to navigate poorly signed and poorly lit locations and places that you're attending.
Right.
So that's often the way. I think that's similar here. I've just had a conversation with the lawyers group here, and their experiences are very, very similar.
Mm-hmm. The big question, I think everybody is wondering at this point, is how many times do you get referred to as Daredevil? Because he's a lawyer, a blind lawyer as well.
Not familiar. No,
No, never.
No,
Matt Murdock. He's like our big comic book character, Daredevil. He was blinded. He's a lawyer and he fights crime at night. He's a lawyer by day.
This is something new to me. This is an American
I thought
thing.
that would have been.
This must be an American thing.
I mean, I'm not even a lawyer, and people call me Daredevil all the time. I'm like, I got nothing to do with Daredevil, so I thought for sure.
No, I have to look into that. It's something new for me.
Yes, yeah. Look at it, Matt Murdock.
Matt Murdock, Daredevil.
Daredevil, yeah. Very, very popular comic book here in the U.S.
Yeah.
I would have thought London too, but
possibly me just being ignorant. I have no idea, but that's something I will look into.
Well, don't be. No, it's not a bad thing that nobody says that to you. So trust me.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam. Keep up the good work. It's a great channel. I think everybody I know, I try to refer to you. It's some great products. So it is keep up the good work. And I know you've got a podcast coming. So yeah, I think everyone who's not subscribe to Sam's channel. Join the podcast. He does some great work. And thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching. Remember that this is only one in our whole entire Working Blind series. Check it out. If you're on YouTube, check out the playlist, Working Blind playlist. And if you're listening to it on the podcast, just scroll back. You'll see the other episodes. Thank you, guys. Sam with the Blind Life. We'll see you next time.